Hello and welcome everybody to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. We're going to get started here in just a minute, but before we do, if you can just confirm that you can both hear my voice as well as see my screen, which should say VooPlayer Q&A on it, and then we can get started. Thank you very much. All right, I only got a couple of confirmations, but I assume that everybody can hear me and see my screen. If not, just say so in the chat box. All right, so once again, welcome to the VooPlayer Q&A weekly webinar call. My name is Peter. I am the product manager for VooPlayer, and we are holding these weekly calls in order to answer any questions which you as users may have, also to provide training or clarifications on the intended use cases for VooPlayer, also to showcase new stuff that we've been working on, as well as ultimately to continue gathering feedback on how we can improve VooPlayer. The format of the webinar is pretty straightforward, so at any time that you have a question, just feel to drop it in the chat box, or if you came prepared with some questions, now would be a good time to drop them in the chat box, and we'll just answer them in the order that they come in. Worth noting is that the webinar replay is available both on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook group. And if you are unable to attend the webinar but would like to pose a question, just feel free to ask that question either in the Facebook group, or just contact us via chat, or just send us an email over at support@VooPlayer.com, and just noting what you would like to have thoroughly discussed in the upcoming webinar. All right, so not a lot of housekeeping or new feature announcements this week. So throughout the last couple of weeks, just to touch base on some things really quickly before we get to the questions. So we released the beta performance optimizations to the performance of VooPlayer loading on your pages. So that remains available, and we started gathering some pretty good feedback with regards to that. So I just want to the embed code for your player will accomplish, among other things, such as improved data performance as well as video streaming. So that's something that you should give a go if you're having troubles with performance. Also, we recently released the rework of overlays and annotations by introducing 14 new templates that make it really easy for you to create professional looking call outs in your videos and have people interact with them by being able to easily position their display, their animations, their content, et cetera, et cetera. So that's I think everybody by now has been familiarized with this, and we see that a lot of people are using the new overlay templates. So again, thanks for continuing to provide us with feedback. We haven't gotten a lot, while we're on this subject, we haven't gotten a lot of feedback for new templates which you feel are missing. So if you, when you're playing with these templates for overlays, if you just ever have an idea, something along the lines of, well, this looks great, but it would be really great if, it would be even better if I could have a template that's created like this. That's why we created this submit idea option for templates which you feel are missing, which we could add. So if you have ideas for templates, we're more than open to have them considered. Also, this week, so today we had a new release of VooPlayer, and in it we released first of a couple of batches of major improvements to playability, display, as well as performance of WooPlayer on mobile devices. So covering everything from Android to iOS devices, phones, tablets, etc., etc. So we've gone through a lot of bugs, as well as active customer issues which we had reported, and I believe at this time vast majority of them are resolved, and so we've made the player controls more accessible. We've dug a little bit deeper into browser capabilities on iOS and how we can perform some things which iOS just does not natively support. So a lot of improvements have gone into mobile. If you've had some issues with WooPlayer's behavior on mobile devices, I would urge you to retest those from any point today onwards, and let us know your feedback. Again, stressing that feedback, that's something that's really important to us. So we want to keep the conversation going with regards to everything that we can improve on. All right, so that's just a quick wrap up of the last couple of weeks and everything that we've been doing. As far as the roadmap is concerned, we are continuing to focus on mobile improvements. There's still a lot of work to be done there, and after that, we're slowly going to start considering some lesser features revolving around improvements to the video funnels, as well as some more powerful integrations, but more on that in the upcoming webinars. What else did I want to touch base on? Yeah, so we've just so you guys are aware of stuff that we're working on. So recently we started getting some pretty heavy peaks in incoming traffic to WooPlayer, and we're to WooPlayer videos just in general, and an overall stress to our infrastructure, and we're pretty confident that trend is going to continue going upwards. So we are in the process of making significant investments into improving the entire infrastructure, which should yield in better performance overall for everybody. So just wanted to let you know that. All right, so that's it for announcements. Let me now get to questions. So Eddie is asking, do we have a timeline for the personalization feature by pulling in info from Facebook and it personalizes each viewer? This is a powerful feature. Please. So if you haven't already, one thing that I would urge you to do is, so if you go over here on submit and vote on ideas, the personalization feature is over here, personalized data in videos. So this would include users to include collected data points on viewers' names, images, etc., to display in interactive video content. So this is something that we started developing a couple of more. This is something that we started developing maybe 6 months ago or so, and we just haven't gotten a lot of traction for how we could the main pain point remains how we obtain data. So without any sort of a centralized resource for the data which we can pull from. So you've named Facebook as an example. Unfortunately, recently Facebook has significantly changed their API, requiring you to have valid authorization for users to obtain their image, their profile information, their name, their friends, etc., etc., etc. So what that would require somebody to do is basically to log in with Facebook to an application, i.e. to WooPlayer, for the personal data to be collected. So that put a big downer on that entire feature with regards to sort of the user experience of that. I mean, we could continue developing it that way, but what that would mean is when somebody starts viewing WooPlayer video utilized, but without any sort of a easily accessible resource for that data, unfortunately we don't have something that we can leverage. Now that kind of plays back into what I was talking about, more powerful integrations. So under consideration also we have a section which is integration requests. So for example, CRMs such as Infusionsoft or HubSpot, which we're currently considering, would give us the ability to import all of the data which you're managing for your customer via that integration. So if you are currently using any sort of a CRM, which you believe a lot of other people are using as well, and which houses that personalized data for each viewer, just make sure to let us know so we can add that to the integration requests list as well. So basically, the entire personalization feature is more or less useless without having a data resource. We could ask people to log in with their social profiles. That would definitely be one of the ways to achieve this somewhat quickly. It's just that we felt that not a lot of people would want to log into a video. But if you feel otherwise, we're more than willing to be proven wrong on that. So if you feel that people would be willing to log in with social profiles to watch a video, that's something that we can definitely consider. Eddie was kind enough to provide an example of something over here. So let me just see what this is. Connect with Facebook. Yeah, basically, more or less, that's that. So to see this video, I would need to log in with my Facebook account and authorize the application to watch the video. So basically, one negative thing about this is that, of course, we don't expect every viewer to have their own Facebook application. So basically, when somebody comes to view a video on your site, so let's say this video is on VooPlayer. Well, sorry, that's going to be a bad example. So let's take up for an example that this video is on Subaru.com. So if somebody is watching a video on Subaru.com, then they're going to get a notification such as this, which would say VooPlayer will receive your public profile and email address, which again, it puts VooPlayer in sort of a middleman position of handling that data. Of course, we could also integrate and allow you to create your own Facebook application and then connect it. So something to continue considering. It's definitely a feature which we see a lot of value in with regards to what it allows you to accomplish. But at this point, we haven't necessarily found one sustainable and feasible solution which we believe will accomplish that. We could definitely, on our end, explore it more. We just haven't given it that much priority with regards to what all is achievable. William is saying, what if you guys create a dynamic link feature for personalizing? We could, definitely. So that's one of the things that would kind of go hand in hand with one of these integrations. So for example, for a HubSpot integration, we would generate a link which is something along the lines of VooPlayer.com or yoursite.com, and then at the end of that you have a query parameter identifying that user. So that's one way in which we can, if HubSpot provides VooPlayer with a custom ID via some sort of a dynamic link, then we can leverage that to pull in all of that information. The other way also could be, if you wanted to provide all of the parameters for the personalization yourself. For example, if I was over here on, I don't know, let me just pull up imwenterprises.com, and then you wanted to forward information such as email equals peter@test.com and name equals Peter, and whatever, gender equals male, and age equals 31, etc., etc. We could capture all of these information easily and have it available in video content, in overlays, locks, etc. So that's something that we could easily accomplish. It's just that at least I am not convinced that a lot of people will have value out of this. The true value from personalization comes from being able to pull on an external resource. However, if you guys feel that you yourself can provide this information, and then you want to leverage it into in a video. So for example, the only way that I see this working kind of is if you have an order page where somebody fills in this information and then you forward that over to a thank you page or a download page where you have a Player video. That's probably the only use case scenario in which I see this covered. Otherwise, the question remains, how are you going to put this information together to be forwarded? Again, I see huge value in this. It's just that we're kind of missing valid use cases which would justify us going down the path of developing this further. Log in with Facebook, it's definitely something to consider, and it will be kind of the easiest thing for us to accomplish. If you feel that people would be willing to log in with Facebook, that's definitely something that we need to reconsider. Our initial assumption was that they wouldn't, but more than welcome to continue discussing this. As I mentioned, just feel free to come over here to the ideas board and continue providing feedback on personalized data and videos. And again, what's really important to us is here is why this is important to me and how it's going to bring me value. And this is sort of a way in which I see this working, sort of what happens on the user end to make this possible. And I'm personally going through all of that feedback, so I promise you that whatever you post as feedback, I will review and provide feedback on how on estimating the feasibility of that suggestion. Hopefully that answers that question. Just to sum it up again, we would really love to have some sort of a personalization feature. We're just really missing ideas on how to accomplish that. Phoebe is saying, under my videos in group view, by default, each folder shows its videos list even before you click the folder. It could be great if the group view just shows the folders and only when you click the folder, then it shows the videos. Lists could make the folder view neat and easy to navigate. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Something that we haven't considered. We just haven't gotten a lot of feedback. So if I come over here to the group view, all of the groups are expanded by default. And what he was saying, it would be great if they were just by default collapsed and then you can just expand them. So I think that's something that could be easily accomplished. And if you just give me 1 second. All right. Done. Noted as feedback, and I'm pretty sure that's something that we can accomplish fairly easily. And I definitely agree with you that that's something that can make navigating a lot easier rather than just infinitely scrolling through groups which may have a lot of videos. So yeah, thank you for the suggestion. That's definitely something that we can implement quickly. Shady is saying, are you integrated with GoAnimate now beyond? So videos created in platforms can be imported directly into Player without needing to download to our computer first. No, we are not. I am familiar with GoAnimate and how they are working. I don't. Last time I've checked, I didn't know that they had sort of an export to feature. Maybe they do for YouTube or something like that. So GoAnimate. If my account here is still active, I guess they've changed their name to Beyond. Let's see if I can log into here. I was testing this out some while ago, so let me just double check if my account is still active. Oh, there it is. So there's my animation video. So if I come into here and I want to export it somehow, what do I do here? Got feedback on your video, show settings menu, make a video, help, share, maybe. Let me just come back to it. Oops, sorry. So what happens if I click over here on share? And now that's just a draft. Try it once more. Maybe from this list I can do something. Settings, your free trial has ended. Oh no. Delete your videos. You were saying they're integrated with Vistia this way, so yeah, that they must have some sort of an export capability. I'm just not able to find it, maybe because my free trial has expired. But we would be definitely more than willing to consider hooking up to an export function. They have we haven't found we haven't had much requests for exporting from other softwares directly to VooPlayer. There have been some requests for, hey, it would be great if I can just export from, for example, from Camtasia to VooPlayer, or if I can export from I don't know what other Avid video software, et cetera, over directly into VooPlayer. So yeah, we agree. All of those are really great integrations. And just so you understand, from our perspective, it's definitely not worth the effort for doing it for one person on sort of custom development basis. So until we get feedback on a lot of people needing this, we can't necessarily justify the effort for developing it. So what I'm going to do is, Shade, I'm just going to note the feedback for the Wistia integration, as well as sort of the general GoAnimate export. All right, noted. So that request now has 2 points on that. But yeah, it will be definitely great for people working in GoAnimate to directly upload their videos to VooPlayer. Unfortunately, at this time, that's not something that's on the roadmap. What else did I want to mention with regards to this? Probably better left off for another discussion. All right, let me come back over here to the questions. Just make sure I didn't miss any. Can you add shuffling on playlist as an option, please? So shuffling a playlist. Let me give that a second just to figure out how that would work. So if shuffle is on, just give me a second just to consider this. We would be able to do that, but I'm not an enterprise user. Oh, shucks. We would be able to do that. However, that would also change the order of the list. So the list that's on playlist would have, darn it, I don't have, I was testing something on the Pro license, so I don't have a playlist handy with me. But the list of videos, which is on the right-hand side, when we would turn on shuffle, that would also shuffle that list. So hopefully, if that kind of satisfies that, that's something that we can easily accomplish just by at random changing the order of that list. So I'll note that as feedback as well. So just let me know if the list updating to reflect the shuffle order after it's been shuffled is okay, and if that kind of covers your use case. Norm is saying, yep, thanks for your mention on Camtasia and Snagit direct export. Yes, as I mentioned, there's been a couple of people who have requested that. It definitely kind of helps with the automation process of things. So if I'm in Camtasia, I'm not going to open it now because it's really slow on my computer from now. Let me just think if I can. Let me just open up Camtasia just for a second. New project, and I'll just have it run in the background until it starts up. Just making sure that I don't have any. So here it is. So share. So if we had custom VooPlayer integration over here, that would be great, because then you can just be working on your video, and once you're done with it, you can just share it directly to VooPlayer and go make yourself a cup of coffee, and then by the time you come back, that would already be imported in video in VooPlayer. So yeah, that's something that we definitely feel would make lives of people using Camtasia and importing to VooPlayer a little bit easier, but exporting to a local file and then uploading, it's not that, I think, difficult to, even though admittedly it could be done a little bit better. So yeah, again, thanks for that feedback, and it's definitely something that we've already noted. But why not? I'll add Norm's comment as well, again, just to kind of raise the priority on that a little bit. Really appreciate your efforts in making this platform the best. Thank you very much, Eddie. That kind of feedback really helps us and really motivates us to continue making this better. And I mean, throughout 2018, we've just had a lot of efforts into just making everything a lot better than it was previously. And for the rest of the year, we're just continuing to focus on providing more value, staying competitive in the market, and perform better just overall. So that's kind of where our focus is. All right, so let me just see what other questions we might have. Any time frame on playlist auto hide? Auto hide. I did note that. I just don't think that anybody has gotten around to that. So auto hide feature is somewhere in the backlog. It'll come up. I don't necessarily. I would feel bad giving you a time estimate on it, and then that turning out not to be good. +1 on Camtasia export. Excellent. Let me just note that +1. Why not? 1 second. +1 on Camtasia, noted. +1 on group view, make it collapsed. Let me add that +1. Add it. All right, cool. And we got a comment, Filmora. All right, cool. Excellent. Let's see if you have one more question. Could you kindly consider adding the code embedding code on social sharing? That just blew my mind. Could you kindly consider adding the code embedding code on social sharing? I'm definitely not going to understand that without some clarification. So Phoebe, if you can clarify a little bit more on what you wanted to ask there. Maybe my brain is not working. I just need somewhat of a simpler explanation, if you would, please. William is saying, are you guys still considering global locations? Remind me again, William. I think I remember this discussion. This was the ability to recognize where the viewer is coming from and then leverage that as content in the video. Is that correct? Just give me a brief refresher course on what the intent there was. So a couple of outstanding questions is Phoebe's embedding and social sharing, and William's geolocation and time display. Yep. Yeah, we're still definitely considering that as well. What I don't necessarily remember. It's somewhere in the feedback. But if you can just reach out to support and just get a conversation going on this in between us, just say I just want to talk with Peter with regards to a feature request, so that we can kind of drill down on it if you have some time, so it doesn't slip through the cracks. I just want to extract some info from you with regards to how you would utilize that. Phoebe is saying, like on video, you can enable social icon for viewers to share. So I'm saying add embedding icon. I got you. So if somebody wants to embed your video on their site, so enable them to grab the embed code. Yeah, that makes complete sense. Yeah, that I believe that also adds some value, so I'll note that as well. You guys are just full of ideas today, aren't you? So we noted about 20, 30 feedback points thus far. So that's great. It really helps us. I would like to stress we are still relatively a small team, so for us to just address things ad hoc is somewhat difficult. So just thank you for your patience and understanding up front as we're going through these issues. What really helps us again prioritize is seeing the value add of individual features, be that them making some processes easier, or be that that they just add more value to your marketing. Just getting a conversation going, as I just mentioned to William, is going to help us understand this better. So mentioning just the feature name as just add embedding to sharing doesn't necessarily illustrate to us what the, I mean, in this instance, it does kind of, because this allows people to grab the embed code and they share it on their website. That makes a lot of sense. But sometimes just saying, hey, can you add something to something, doesn't necessarily illustrate to us what's the value perceived and value added from that. So getting a conversation going, and it's sometimes difficult to do this in webinars. So feel free to bring it up in webinars, and then we can just take this conversation over to chat or email, so we can discuss it a little bit further, so we can understand better what that feature actually would accomplish. All right. If there are no further questions, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time this week to join. And as I mentioned, just a lot of good feedback and a lot of positive ideas that are coming out of this session. So I just want to thank everybody for continuing to contribute their opinions. At any time that you have any ideas, we're also available through support. If you just want to reach out with any feedback or suggestions for improvements or change requests, new feature requests, you're more than welcome to do that. Hopefully we'll see you next week as well. And I just want to wish everybody a happy remainder of the week. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.